First of all, shout out to Charlotte, the Baroness of Burnley, who brought this story to everyone's attention on Twitter. Good job. So this is a real letter stroke email that this school in Walsingham sent out to parents. Okay, ready? Dear parents stroke carer, on Friday the 18th of October 2024, our school will be taking part in a Blue Nose Day. This will entail the heating being turned off throughout the school to conserve energy. Energy, by the way, which is a limitless resource that exists on planet Earth. Anyway, we are doing this to help reduce our school's carbon footprint, carbon being a substance that plants use to breathe. You learn that in school as well. And raise the importance of being more sustainable. On the 18th of October, students should maintain the exact uniform standards as usual, but we are recommending that they wear a black V-neck jumper, if you already have one, or any non-visible layers under their uniform. Skins, vest, plain white t-shirt, extra thick socks. Please note, hoodies will not be permitted and blazers should be worn. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any concerns. So, in order to promote climate change propaganda, it's like, dear parent or carer, on Thursday, we're going to switch off the heating and try to give your child pneumonia in order to brainwash them that human beings are some sort of cancer on the planet and to see themselves as this thing that just destroys everything and just must be eradicated. Dear parent stroke carer, on Thursday, we're going to attempt to freeze your child to death in an effort to brainwash them. Please call us if you have any concerns. Yes, I happen to have a number of concerns about this. Blue Nose Day. Oh, so wait a minute. So you're gonna make my child so cold that their nose is going to turn blue. This is the type of thing. Hey, guys, teach them English. Teach them maths. Teach them how to read. Teach them how to write. Since when were schools employed to brainwash children that they shouldn't have the central heating on? Do you know how many years human beings have been warming themselves up without feeling guilty? Do you know what I mean? Do you know, like, even back in like the Middle Ages, you know, it was like, right, put some wood on the fire, let's heat ourselves up. No one in the Middle Ages was like, oh, don't put the fire on. It's not sustainable. Like, all of a sudden, with all this technology we now have, all of this Wi-Fi and 5G, and you can just pluck any Rihanna song out the air and just be playing it on your little mini computer that you carry around with you, but you can't have the heating on. But you can't warm yourselves up like human beings have been doing ever since the beginning of time. No, now we want to teach children that it's bad to be warm, and it's good to get pneumonia, and it's good to have, like, why don't we have, like, I don't know, Green Leg Day, where on Wednesday we're going to try and give your children gangrene in order to teach them that they don't want to waste resources on keeping their legs sanitized, and that they shouldn't be wasting things like soap on their arms and their legs, and they should just let everything just become disgusting and never wash. You know what I mean? Anyway, so this was the plan. You know, this was the actual plan that Walsingham School had, was to turn off the heating. And this is probably some PSY operation, you know, to get the whole country used to, you know, oh, it's bad to have the heating on. You're not going to be allowed to. They're already making it economically almost impossible for you to have the heating on. They're already trying to make you so poor to convince you that, hey, even though we live in 2024, and on one hand we're showing you like robots at parties and driverless cars, and we're trying to blast rockets into space, but on the other hand, you know, I'm sorry, we just don't have any resources for you to, you know, warm yourself up like human beings have been doing for millennia. Okay? It's so... and this is why people like me and loads of people around the country are considering homeschooling their kids. It's like, I'm not sending my kids to you for you to brainwash them with United Nations climate change propaganda. The whole thing is a scam, by the way. The whole thing is a scam. There's no such thing as we need to reduce the amount of carbon. We need to reduce the carbon footprint. We can't have the heating on anymore. We can't use energy. Energy is limitless. It's limitless. And the people who come up with these climate change scams are all flying around in their private jets, making an absolute fortune out of the climate change scam. And it's basically an excuse for your life to get worse. It's like, well, the world is going to end in blah, blah, blah years. Therefore, we can't afford for you to go on holiday. You can't go on a holiday. You can't eat meat. You can't have the lights on. You can't have the heating on. You need to start washing your rubbish. You know, these people who get their bean cans, literally got like a toothbrush and some varnish and sort of shining up the bean can for it to go to the rubbish dump. How clean? Do you think all the rubbish in the rubbish dump is spick and span? Like mixed recycling. What do you think happens to the mixed recycling? What do you think happens to the aluminium cans and the plastic milk bottles that are all mixed in together? What do you think happens to those? Do you think there's a machine that separates the aluminium cans from the plastic, from the glass bottles? What does that machine look like? Draw me a picture of the mixed recycling separating machine. You can't, because it doesn't exist. You think the council that are going bust everywhere, that are just stealing your money, you think they employ a team of people to sift through your mixed recycling and separate it into 3 piles? Where does that take place? Show me the videos all over the country of teams of people separating the mixed recycling into piles. It all goes to the same place. The whole thing's a scam. The whole thing's a scam. And incredibly, schools think they can sacrifice your children on the altar of climate change. You know, it's like, we're going to freeze your children so that you all think that the world's going to end and you have to accept this terrible standard of living. Anyway, this is what happened. So that was the original plan. And then immediately, obviously, parents got wind of this and people on the internet got wind of this and just started, people that don't even have children going to school started phoning the school. And this is their response. Sadly, it was cancelled. But like, they obviously did a 180. But look, check this out. Like, this is a bit that cracks me up, right? Dear parents, stroke carer, as you will be aware, the students involved in the climate action team have been planning a Blue Nose Day for this Friday. It's like, oh, now it's the students. It's all this. Let me tell you something. First of all, it was like, dear parents, stroke carer, this is what the school's doing on this day. And then all the parents were like, you're not giving my kid pneumonia so that you can brainwash them. And then it was like, dear parent, let me tell you what the students have been trying to do. These climate action students had this crazy plan, and we've gotten wind of it. The students involved in the climate action team have been planning a Blue Nose Day. Oh yeah, I'm sure it was all the students. I'm sure there's no teacher there that's organising the whole thing, that's brainwashing them. I'm sure the students got the idea that the world is going to end unless they turn the heating off in October themselves. I'm sure there's no adult in that school that's pushing this anti-human climate change agenda. The event was designed to raise the importance in our school community of being more sustainable. Okay. Why don't you have an event that's designed to raise the importance in your school community of being warm? Okay, that's more important. Why don't you have an event that says to the children, listen, in October, it's important to be warm in order that you stay alive and don't get sick and that your organs work properly. Why don't you have that instead of telling students that, hey, it's a good idea. It's a good idea to force you to wear 18 layers of clothing like you're in the beginning of The Empire Strikes Back. Okay, in order to convince you that there's something wrong with having the heating on, which has been going on in schools forever. And in a small way, reduce the school's carbon footprint. Since when did schools pick a side in political things about whether or not there is a carbon footprint and whether it's a good or bad thing? It's like, do you know there's science that says that it's actually a good thing for the environment to have more carbon, that plants breathe it? Do you know there's a whole bunch of science which is never allowed to be shown to people that shows that climate change is a complete scam? You know, since when does schools... You know why they have to get the kids in school with this stuff? So they don't become adults that think for themselves and figure out that it's a scam. The date was carefully chosen by looking at an average temperatures by month and short-term weather forecasts, including a temperature in Walsingham of approximately 15 degrees centigrade on Friday. It's like, oh, we picked the warmest day on purpose. Shut up. It's October, you idiots. After careful consideration and speaking to several parents regarding their concerns, the Blue Nose Day scheduled for Friday will now not go ahead as planned. No way. School will be open as usual, with staff and students not needing to wear extra layers of clothing and with the heating switched on as a normal school day. Let me guess the nature of complaints they got. Let me guess. If I was a parent, I'd be calling up and saying, listen, first of all, if you're not turning the heating on, my kid's not coming in. You're not endangering my child to brainwash them. I bet the nature of calls they got was like, listen, if my kid gets pneumonia and dies of this day on school, are you guys going to be responsible for that? Because I'm going to sue you if that happens. And they were like, this might not be such a great idea. Students in the climate action team have already played a key part in making Walsingham School more sustainable in other ways over the last few academic years. What do you mean sustainable? What do you mean sustainable? Schools are sustainable, whether you have the heating on or not. Like, if you run the heating, what, is the school just going to blow up and not be there anymore? Oh, it wasn't sustainable, this school. The idea that if you turn the heating on, that if you warm up these children, that it's something's non-sustainable. What do you mean not? Everything's sustainable. Life is sustainable. This is not a biblical way of thinking, this idea that human beings are going to destroy the planet and everything's going to be ruined by us. This planet was created for us. We're not ruining it with plastic straws, you know. This includes the installation of filtered water coolers, meaning the amount of single-use plastic from water bottles has been reduced to extremely close to zero. You know what makes me laugh? The same people responsible for pushing this climate agenda, climate change, are the same people manufacturing all the plastic that they then guilt-trip you because of using. The climate action team will now plan for the day to occur in the summer term. No way. Is it still going to be called Blue Nose Day? The idea that you've named it after, we're going to turn the kids' noses blue. It's so weird. And we'll communicate with parents leading up to it with details of the event. Kind regards. You know what the moral of this story is? Complain about this type of stuff. Harass the activists that are trying to endanger your children to brainwash them. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a win that this was cancelled. You know, you've really got to be on if you're parents and you've got kids, you really need to be on your parents' schools, man. You really need to be phoning them up and complaining about this type of nonsense. You know, you can't just turn your kids over to these schools and let them have their way. It's going to go badly. Listen, thank you for subscribing to the channel. I know you already have. I know you already do. Thank you for those of you that support this channel financially. The link's in the description to do so. Takes a couple of minutes, either on Locals or Subscribestar, and that really is the reason we're able to keep going. And for those of you that are on Subscribestar or Locals, I'm going to have a recording of a stand-up set that I did recently where there's a bunch of new material, and I'm going to whack the whole thing up there, because whenever I do like a big event where I'm doing new stuff, people are always like, can you live stream it? We'll pay or whatever. You know, and I can't live stream them because it's not practical, but I will put the recording up in my Subscribestar and on my Locals today. So if you want to subscribe to either of those two, you'll get to see my 20-minute new material set from a recent London gig that I did. So there is that. If you want to support the channel, hit the links in description. Really keeps us going. Thanks a lot. Have a blessed day, and see you soon.